Hey, welcome back to another video. This video we're going to talk about second conditional. Before we continue with the second conditional, we have to remember or go back to the first conditional. We talked about this in class. I told you about this and we did a lot of examples with the first conditional. But if you don't remember, I'm gonna go over it real quick. So the first conditional or any conditional, it's formed by two sentences. The one that starts with if and the consequence. With the first conditional, the structure is if plus simple present, which is the possible situation, and the consequence that uses the future will. For example, if I study, I will pass exam. Possibility, consequence. If it rains, what's the consequence? I will not go out. Possibility, if I have enough money, I'll buy new shoes. So that's the first conditional. Now, how do we make, or what is the difference between the first conditional and the second conditional? Well, as you saw in the previous slide, the first conditional talks about an action and a consequence either in the present time or in the future tense. And on the other hand, the second conditional, the only difference is that here we are going to talk about unreal situations, like situations that they are like almost impossible to happen. They can happen, they can occur, yes, but it's like super, super not possible. That's why they are called unreal situations. And the structure here is different. Different, not so different. Why? Because we have the same type of structure. We have the if and we have the consequence. But with the second conditional, the unreal situation, it's going to have the past tense. I'm gonna write it here. So the if clause, the if part, it's going to have the past tense. In this case, we have found. If I found $40,000, what can I do with that money? Obviously in the future, because it's a situation that it's not happening in this moment. We are like imagining the situation, the unreal situation. So if I found $40,000 and the possible answers in the consequence part, we can use would. Give me a second. We can use would, we can use might, or we can use could. Remember that could, it's for, it's when you have the ability to do something. In this case, if you had $40,000, what can you do with that money? Well, you could buy a new car. So again, if I found $40,000 and you can use would, I would keep it. You can use might, I might. This is like a 50-50 chances of probability. I might look for the owner, but I might not. That depends on the values of the person. Or, as I said, if you want to express what can you do with that money, in this case with $40,000, you can use could. If I found $40,000, I could buy a new car. So this is the structure. One more time. If plus the past tense, and for the consequences, we can use would, might, could, and the verb, it's going to be in its base form, in present. Okay. Now, the structure, if we want to make a sentence, if we want to ask somebody, if we want to make a person think about an unreal situation or an imaginary situation in the future or in the present, well, you're going to do that by asking this. What would you do? What will you do if, and then the rest of the question you want to make. For example, what will you do if you had, it's my past tense, what will you do if you had, see, the ability to fly? Again, remember that second conditional, it is used for unreal situations, like this example here. If you had the ability to fly. And well, your answers. If I had the ability to fly, comma, I would. What will you do? What will you do if you had the ability to fly? My example, I would visit different countries. Another example, if I had the ability to fly, comma, I, and remember, you can also use might. I might, which is like expressing as something that it's not so probable. I might, okay, this is a difficult question. If I had the ability to fly, I might travel to someone's house, to a friend's house at night. Weird example, but I didn't know what else to write. I had the ability to fly, comma, I and could. I could be a superhero. See, these three are examples of the second conditional. And as the first conditional, you can also change the structure of the sentence. You can start by saying or writing the if part, or you can start with the consequence. You can start by saying, I would visit different countries if I had the ability to fly. I might travel to a friend's house at night if I had the ability to fly. I could be a superhero if I had the ability to fly. Either way, it's correct. Just remember that if you're going to start with the consequence, no comma is needed. You don't need the comma. The comma only applies if you start with the unreal situation in past. Okay. So in this picture we have a guy who is thinking about probably something about the future, and just looking at his appearance or based judging on his look, we can say that this person doesn't have enough money. Maybe he has little money, but he doesn't have that much. So he's thinking about something in the future, right? Okay, for this type of situations where you see yourself thinking about something that you know it's like very impossible to happen, we can use the second conditional, like in this example. If he, remember, the if part uses simple past. If he, which verb can you think of? Which verb do you think fits in this type of scenario? If he had money, comma, he would, and based on these pictures, he would travel a lot. That's example number one. And the only example, if you can think about other examples in your head, go ahead and think about them. I want to keep this video short. So this is it. I don't know if I'm being clear. The main point is that whenever you think about something that it's unlikely to happen in the present or future tense, you're going to use second conditional. Let me erase this. This exercise is on page 101. I'm gonna be writing the answers here on the screen, but pause the video, try to complete this, and well, check the video like right now and you're gonna see the answers. Just one tip, remember, second conditional is formed by two sentences. Not two sentences, two clauses. The first clause is the one with if, which uses simple past, and the second clause that it's after the comma is formed by either would, could, or might. So for example, we're gonna do the first conversation, 1 and 2 as an example. We have a question here. What will you do if you lost your sister's favorite sweater? Of course, I would, this is the contraction for I would, hide. And the verb, as I said, it's in its base form. Don't conjugate it. It's just as it is in the parentheses. That's correct. Of course, I would or I'd buy her a new one. 2. If, here we have the if part. So this verb is going to be in past. If you had 3 months to travel, where, we have the question, where would you go? Oh, that's easy. I would fly. I will fly to Europe. I've always wanted to go there. Okay, you do the rest of the activity. So pause the video and do it. Meanwhile, I'm gonna be writing the answers. Number 3, if your doctor told you to get more exercise, again, if part, verb in past. If your doctor told you to get more exercise, which activity would you choose? I'm not sure, but I think I would go jogging 2 or 3 times a week. 4. What? Sorry. This is would. This is would. Would you break? Would you break into your house if this verb in past? If you locked yourself out? No way. If I, okay, we have a negative here. We have a negative, not have, and we have the first part of the conditional. So what is the past of not? have, didn't. If I didn't have another key, I would ask a neighbor for help. If your friend wanted to marry someone you didn't like, would you say something? No, I wouldn't. Negative, I wouldn't say anything. I would, I'd mind my own business. What would you do if you saw your favorite movie star on the street? I wouldn't be shy. I would ask to take a photo with them. So these are the correct answers for that exercise. Now the homework. It's not homework. You can pause the video because I'm going to erase this. It's not homework, as I was saying. It's just a little activity that you have to do. And this is it. You're going to write an example of a second conditional sentence in the comment section below. If your username has a different name or it's not your real name, let me know by writing on it what's your real name. I mean, if your username is like Dark Phoenix 302, just write your example and at the end of it, write your real name so I can know who you are. And that's it, guys. If you have any doubts, you know what to do. You can text me or letting me know in the comment sections. See you in the next video.